Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Trumbull Housing Authority meeting for December 22nd, 2020. We'll proceed with a roll call and start with where we normally sit, if that works best.
Maureen Bova.
Suzanne D'Onofrio.
Harriet Polanski.
Kathy McGannon.
Laurel Anderson.
And Mary Beth.
And Mary Beth Thornton.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Okay, we're on meeting minutes. Any revisions to the regular November 24th board meeting? Any comments?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Kathy McGannon will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against?
Someone said, excuse me.
And then any abstentions?
I need to abstain. I didn't attend the meeting. Mary Beth Thornton.
Okay, thank you. All right, our fourth item is the election of officers. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, can we add a motion? Is it too late?
Okay.
New business?
Okay, all right, I'd like to, well, is that, okay, yeah, let's see. I'd like to add a motion for new business for the discussion and possible motion for approving, is it a new snow plow?
Yeah, the purchase of a new snow tractor with,
We need to make a motion to
tractor.
add this to the agenda. Is there a motion that we can add this?
I'll make a motion to add the purchase of a new snowplow to the agenda.
Is there a second?
Mary Beth Thornton, I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstains? Any negative? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. All right. So Harriet would like to add a new item to the agenda for new business discussion of purchase of a new snow equipment. So I will
it's
turn it over to
tractor
you,
and
Harriet.
equipment.
Okay. So what exactly is this?
It's a new tractor with a new mower attachment, a new snow blower attachment, and two
Salt.
To what? What was the end, Harriet?
Sanders. Yeah.
Is there a price on this?
Yeah, I have all that. Oh, so do you want the price now? Do you want to do new
We'll
business?
discuss it under new business.
Should we discuss, so wait till new business? Okay, so we're
Yeah.
just adding it? Okay.
Just adding it to
Thank
the
you.
agenda, yes.
Okay. So that would be, before unfinished business? No, it would be after unfinished business. Item 9. So we're adding it to item 9. Okay, so item 4 on the agenda is the election of officers. At this December meeting, the board will vote on a slate of officers for 2021 as per our Trumbull Housing Association bylaws. As vice chairman, I make the following motion. I move that the board act as a committee of the whole for the purposes of nominating to fill the positions for 2020. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Okay. Motion, nominations will now be taken. Is there any nominations for chairman?
I nominate
Yes,
Kathy McGannon.
I would like to nominate Kathy McGannon as chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll
Mary
second.
Beth,
Okay. So Kathy McGannon, chairman. Any other nominations for chairman? Okay. We'll move on to nominations for vice chairman. Is there any nominations for vice chairman?
This is
Mary Beth.
Maureen. I'll nominate Suzanne D'Onofrio for vice chairman.
Is there a second? No. Any other nominations for vice chairman?
Mary Beth Thornton, I'd like to nominate Laurel Anderson for vice chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
So Kathy McGinnis seconded it. So Laurel Anderson for vice chairman. Is there a nomination for treasurer? I'd like to nominate Maureen Bova. Is there a second?
I second Laurel.
Seconded by Laurel Anderson. Any other nominations for treasurer? Okay. Any nominations for vice treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Mary Beth Thornton. This is Laurel.
Any second?
Kathy McGannon, second.
Kathy McGannon. So any other nominations for vice treasurer? Okay. So Mary Beth Thornton for vice treasurer. And lastly, nominations for secretary. Any nominations for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Suzanne D'Onofrio.
Is there a second?
I'll
Kathy
second.
McGannon, second.
Okay. So nominations for secretary, Suzanne D'Onofrio. So the board that we're voting on would be Kathy McGannon for chairman. Vice chairman was Laurel Anderson. Treasurer is Maureen Bova. Vice treasurer was Mary Beth Thornton. And nominations for secretary was Suzanne D'Onofrio. So since there wasn't any more than one, we can vote for the entire slate. We will now vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. So now we're on to, so I approve the slate is nominated. Okay, so we have that. We're moving to the treasurer's report. Maureen?
Okay, and this is the Trumbull Housing Authority financial highlights for November 30th, 2020.
Oh, wait, excuse me. Did I need to list everybody's name and vote individually for each person for that? I'm just looking back. I voted for the entire slate, right? Is that okay to do it since there was just one nomination?
It's okay. We voted on the slate because there was no,
So that's fine. I didn't need to do everybody individually. I was just checking.
right, right.
Okay. Okay. So we're now on.
Does Kathy take over the meeting now as the chairman?
I suppose. Darn, but I suppose. All right, we'll move to the treasurer's report.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Do we have to
Harry.
come out of the committee of the whole
have to.
first?
Right. You have to come out of the committee, I believe, and then vote on the slate out of committee.
Right.
Okay, so motion to come out of committee as a whole.
As a whole, okay. Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Okay. And then vote on the slate, Barbara?
And then we vote on the slate.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the slate as presented.
So moved, Laurel.
Laurel,
Second,
second by Suzanne. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we can go on to the treasurer's report. Maureen?
Okay, from July 1, 2020 through November 30, 2020, the overall gain of the Housing Authority is $145,979, which includes all rental income, services income, and capital grant funding provided for the development, rehabilitation, and remodeling efforts. If we take out the capital-related items, the Housing Authority has an operating gain before depreciation of $47,239, of which $49,769 is attributable to the village, and minus $2,530 is attributable to the congregate. If we look at Stern Village, the current month's operating gain of $8,309 compared to a budgeted gain of $4,578. The higher than projected gain is due to lower payroll costs, some of which will be spent in December due to finalizing the new collective bargaining agreement. Overall, revenue and expenses are in line with expectations. If we look at the congregate, the current month's operating loss of $9,222 compared to budgeted gain of $301. This is primarily due to $12,067 in COVID-related costs, which are over the monthly budget by $9,692. The cost included cleaning and 24-hour security coverage required due to the instance of COVID. All costs were covered by DOH funding. However, there is only $1,662 left in the funds for the remainder of the year. The overall cash position of the authority, including reserves, is $1,171,647, which includes $568,052 reserved for renovation costs at Stern Village. Construction payables total $30,202. And a snapshot of the program balances are below that you can see in the paper in front of you. Congregate payable to village was paid down, and the $11,567 year-to-date increase represents November's cost share to be paid in December. Beginning June 30th, 2020, Stern Village is required to remit a portion of excess cash to DOH as defined in the assistance agreement relating to the Stern Village redevelopment. As noted in the above table, no excess cash was available as of the beginning of the year, and $8,012 was generated this year and would be subject to recapture if not spent by year end. Management intends to utilize these funds to continue rehabbing units. End of report.
Do any commissioners have any questions regarding this report? Laurel?
Actually, I only have one on the financials for Jason. I know you're shocked. Under heating, 4430.3. There's $30,000 in the budget, and we're already up to $22,381 as of November. There's only $988 left for the rest of the heating season. We're going to run into any issues with this? I mean, it seems like this is really, was it repairs or something? Because it's really front loaded.
Yeah, it was a big cleaning that you do once a year on the units.
Oh,
$20,000 of it. Go ahead.
Wow.
that was for the heat shop to come in and do the heat pumps, the once a year cleaning.
Okay.
So in the past, this is what surprised us last year, is that after they were put in, we found out that twice a year, once or twice a year, they recommend that you clean them out, and it had cost somewhere around $30,000 last year to do that, and that we were way over budget because we hadn't budgeted for that. We did budget it for it this year, and it came in lower at $20,000. So yes, it takes up all of your budget, but you typically don't have a lot of. They're newer units, so we anticipated not having much. But I still think we will be okay. Obviously, there's not a lot of room for error there, but.
Okay, so then we've got 4 more months to use up the $98.81, which I assume would be for the real cost of heating.
Yes, if any.
Okay. And does that seem like that's going to be on budget, or are we?
Yeah, because it varies. There have been times and that you had zero, because these are all newer units now. So we haven't had many. Last year we had about, I think, $3,000 for the year, and I think a lot of that was the community room.
Okay. So these are brand new heat pumps, right?
Correct.
Well, they're
No, they're not brand new.
Only in the
They're
community
about
room.
4
They're
or
about
5
3
years
years
old.
old.
Or 4 or 5 years old, and so they have to be cleaned for 20 grand? Or do we send that contract out for bid and everything?
Yes, we
Okay,
did.
holy smoke.
And how often are we planning to clean these?
Once a year. And then our maintenance guys go in and they look at them and they make sure that they're not dusty or there's nothing in there, but once a year.
Okay.
And
Okay,
that's sufficient.
Well, they like to do it twice a year, the guy, obviously,
Well, I know the
but we-
company would like to do it
Right,
twice.
but
a
doing
year,
it
but-
once a year, they should last for another 5 years or so.
Is the cleaning required to maintain the warranty on them?
No, it's just to make sure that everything is, running properly and there's no mold issues.
Okay, thanks.
Did we know when they were being put in that this cleaning was going to be required, or was that one of those buyer beware surprises?
Yeah.
It was a buyer beware surprise. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. This is Maureen speaking. When they were put in and they did that, they said your filters had to be cleaned once a year, but they had to be taken apart once a year. And that's what the 20,000 is, not just for cleaning. They take each unit apart, clean it, inspect it for mold, for any things that people say they don't work, they're getting cold air instead of hot, and so on and so forth. They really do. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to do one. And that's the thorough cleaning for 20,000. They were also said when we first got them, and I'll tell you, I know because I was here in one of the first sections to get one. When I had asked questions about it, they said, yes, if you treat them the right way, clean them, change the air filters, they should last approximately 10 years. And we've had no major problems with them so far. And it will be 5 years, I think, in the spring, this coming spring in 2021. And I only know that because I asked.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen.
This is Kathy again. Are our maintenance people doing the filter changes, or this company comes in and does the whole
No.
kit and caboodle?
Our maintenance does the filter changes.
Okay.
When they check twice a year, again, of course, of COVID, we're supposed to do inspections for all the apartments, and that's going to be, done hopefully later on next year. We can all get in. But yes, the only issues we have are smokers. If someone is a heavy smoker, and again, you're not allowed to smoke in your apartments, but people do, that's sometimes when there are issues. Because these are like computers. They're wonderful machinery. They're great for people that have any sorts of allergies or any type of breathing issue because they pretty much clean the air. They pick up any allergens. You set it and forget it. So if there's smoke, sometimes that's a little harder.
So I guess as your winter months may cause more difficulty with the units than your spring, summer, fall,
Yes.
because they're not going to bundle up and go walk away from the unit and smoke. Okay. Do we have a lot of them that are, do you have a lot of smoke issues?
A few, not significant, because most people have either, luckily, once we put in the rule of no smoking in your apartments, and we do have designated smoking areas, plenty of people do go out to the area because it's also social for them. They go out, they see their friends, and some people have actually quit, which is also a good thing because we did have programs for them to quit, and some people actually did take advantage of that.
Okay.
Excuse me for 1 second. Does anybody recognize a phone number ending in 239? Someone's called in and has raised their hand. I don't know if it's someone who's supposed to be in on this meeting. I don't know if it's a resident. I'm not sure who it is, but.
I don't know. Bill, I guess, is in control, right?
Yeah, just
I don't-
FYI, that somebody's.
Okay. As soon as he reappears, we'll have
But I don't know who it is.
whoever it is, we see your hand raised. So as soon as we have access, I think Bill is the host on it, so he's going to have to let them in.
them the ability
Yeah.
to speak if you want me to ask them.
Well, if it's a resident, I'm just saying, if it's a resident, they don't really have the opportunity till later, but I wasn't sure if it was somebody else who had been invited to.
Oh, is it Daisy?
Is it Daisy or Paulette, maybe?
No, not as far as I know.
Bill, we have a hand raised and we don't know if it's a resident or
Yeah, I
somebody who,
noticed that earlier. The last three numbers of the phone number are 239. So I'm not sure if you're expecting anybody, but if there's no public comment, then there's no
there's
public comment.
public comment, yeah, resident comment down at number 10, but whoever it is will hold until resident comments, because my guess is it's, nobody has texted me, Paulette or Daisy or anybody saying they're trying to get on. So we'll hold for resident comment. Any other questions on the financials? Good to move on? Okay, Harriet?
So, COVID-19, as you know, has added so many layers to all of our jobs and to us personally. So at Stern Village, we're doing everything we can to keep the pandemic far away from our residents. We now have a hands-free temperature scanner located in the congregate that's working out great. We installed plexiglass on Daisy's desk to keep her safer. The administrative staff is alternating weeks working from home or coming to the office, and our 3 maintenance men are social distancing and not working closely together. Department of Housing, I have calls with them once a week on Wednesdays. They're hoping to have the vaccine made available for our congregates and staff. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I don't know how that's going to be dispersed, but I'll have more updates hopefully in January. We urge residents not to attend large gatherings or travel out of town for the holidays. The snowstorm. We were prepared for what the weather forecast predicted, a light, fluffy snow amounting to 12 to 18 inches. No one thought it'd be so heavy. So our maintenance crew worked around the clock clearing the snow on Thursday, Friday, and came in Saturday. Residents were told, they're always told, to take off their outdoor mats and furniture off their porch. We did have some instances where the outdoor mats were jammed in the snow blowers and it took time to fix. Residents were also called and urged to be patient. If a resident called and needed to get out for an appointment, we made sure that they could. Moving forward, I spoke to our landscaper and who uses Stern Village, and he will provide us with additional help if needed. I also held a meeting with our maintenance staff on Monday to see how we could do things better and if they need equipment. So that's pretty much what the new business item is, to talk about some equipment that they need. In the village, we currently have 2 vacancies. One is in the first section and is completely rehabbed. One of our Stern Village residents will be moving to this unit as a reasonable accommodation. This all came up today. The other vacant unit will be sanitized by our maintenance men after the holidays. And, it's quiet. It's actually a good quiet, because that means that people are doing hopefully what they're supposed to do. But residents are signing up to go to the laundry room. They come to the laundry room. They use the food pantry. So it's available for them. Luckily, thank you, dear, we didn't have a power outage. Otherwise, that would have turned into a heating center. There's plenty of food. The food pantry is full. Thank you, all Trumbull residents and everyone else, for constantly contributing to them. It means a lot to our residents, especially this time of year. So over the past 3 years, we have received HTCC funding, which is State Housing Tax Credit Contribution Program, and it's used to rehab apartments in Stern Village. The HTCC program is designed to help build affordable housing in Connecticut, and private business can buy tax credits and apply them to their corporate tax. So for the past 3 years, Eversource has purchased tax credits and provided us a check of $500,000, amounting to, at the end, for this year, it'll be $1,500,000. We usually receive the check before Christmas. Connecticut Housing Authority, which is CHFA, administers this program. Since they are short-staffed, we most likely won't receive the check until sometime in January. When we do get new funding, is Jason still there? Yeah, Jason, as we know, we have to set up a separate account to keep track of it. 3 years is the limit for HTC funding for a property. We reached our limit for Stern Village. We hope to apply for HTC funding for the congregate, and we can discuss once the NOFA or Notice of Funding comes out. So I'm not sure when that's going to come. I've started planning for 2021. Excuse me. Jason is working on populating a spreadsheet that has sources of funding over the past few years. It has deadlines, it has the amounts that need to be spent. As we discussed in the past, we do not want to give any unused money back to the state. So we'll all figure out the best way to use that, and we'll be able to have that spreadsheet to you prior to January's meeting. I've also completed the capital needs assessment for the congregate. I will meet with my staff to discuss it, and then Kent, you're on. We're going to also talk about it too. And then I'm also working one for the village, so we can talk about the capital needs as well. We have opportunities for additional funding sources. Kent and I had a conference call with Rena Bacalar to provide her updates on the existing congregate project and discuss applying for 2021 small cities. If allowed, we can certainly reapply for the enhancements to the fire prevention system for the village, and we can also include some items for the congregate, perhaps even a new elevator. But again, the notice hasn't come out yet, and we can talk about this once we get the funding available. We are doing everything we can to promote the congregate. We advertised the Connecticut Post and only got a few people to call about it, but no bites. We do a lot of social media. Heather and I are continuing posting to social media groups. Heather has received a lot of response from posts that she's put on Marketplace. Paulette emails SWACA to promote us to their members. I am also working on a marketing plan to get additional applicants. This is our last board meeting, again, for 2020, and I think we're all happy to start the new year fresh. I want to thank our commissioners for all their help and continued support. You're great to work with, and I appreciate everything you do. Mary Beth, welcome to our amazing team, and I'm looking forward to working with you as well. I also want to thank our first selectman, Vicki Tesoro, and her staff for all they do for our residents. I have the opportunity to work very closely with Rena and Kevin, Bova, and Dan Martin and several others in helping us get a lot of these funding grants and all processed. I want to thank Jeff, Fernando, Renee for all they do for residents. These are our maintenance crew. As you know, they're on site at the crack of dawn when needed to. There were times when there had been major snowstorms in Stern Village, we all slept over. So they always go above and beyond, just like Paulette, Daisy, and Heather. I want to thank them. I mean, these are my rock stars, and I really do appreciate everything. And again, it's going to be a very busy new year. We're looking forward to it. We're embracing it. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of work going on. So thank you.
Anyone have questions for Harriet at all about Laurel?
I have a couple. Harriet, I wonder if you could take a look for us on when the dust settles, what it cost us in overtime for your maintenance guys to do everything they had to do, versus what it might cost if we had, you know, an outside company with all their own equipment. I don't know how we could become first among equals, and that's sort of what you'd need. So it may not be realistic, but I would just sort of like a snapshot in time. I'm not sure you're going to get much worse this, please God, in 2021. You're not going to have another 20 inches or something, but just in case, you know, at what point is the overtime and the fact that your guys are probably working themselves to death versus letting somebody else work themselves to death. You know, if you could just do a quickie for us, and just so we have a sense of what that actually cost to clear that
Sure.
much snow away.
Mhm.
So another question I have is, you just mentioned 1.5 million in the HTCC. Is that on top of that 500,000 that we just got?
That's all included. That's for the 3 years. So we've
Okay.
had, yeah, so that's inclusive.
Okay, so that's going to be it for us then. That 500,000 was the end of the line.
For Stern Village.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, my hope is that we can apply for the congregate
Okay.
because it's a whole different entity.
And the marketing for the congregate, I just wanted to kind of update everybody. Harriet and I had an opportunity to talk about the congregate vacancies. And to be honest with you, the fact that I've been seeing ads in the Trumbull Times and in other newspapers where assisted living facilities and other senior housing things are offering to pay for people to move as an incentive. So as I said to Harriet, I don't think it's just us. I really don't think we're the only ones suffering from this vacancy issue. If other similar facilities are actually going to offering kind of cash incentives almost to try to entice people, it may be that we need to start kind of putting up some cash. And in the short term, it's not going to be pretty, but if it means we don't have 6 vacancies for 4 months because we front loaded $1,500 in moving fees or something, do we need to at some point, and I don't want people to think about it right this second, but I think we need to start thinking about it and how we can start filling these vacancies.
That's a good idea.
Well, that's what they're
Jason,
doing.
are you aware of this happening elsewhere in other housing?
Yeah, that was addressed to me.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
Jason.
Jason speaking. Unfortunately, it's kind of just started probably the last month or two, where it's been kind of ramping up everywhere. I think what the benefits other larger housing authorities have is they have federal funds that they allow. They've got special CARES Act funding where they basically have all these dollars that they have to try to spend.
Yeah.
So they kind of have a little bit more resources than you guys have. I know Harry and I talked about trying to maximize and get back some of the little resources you did get from DOH, the 20 some odd thousand. Try to leverage FEMA dollars to see if you can't reimburse some of those funds and then use those funds to either support the vacancies or spend them and call it basically a COVID cost to have to do this to get people in. I think we had just talked about that a couple weeks ago. The problem is that FEMA's far behind, so it's kind of like you kind of go for it and hope you get the money back, and if you don't, you did the best you could type of thing. But it's kind of the one option we thought of. I didn't necessarily think of the actual paying for moving costs itself, but certainly,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm suggesting it. I'm just saying that's what it seems like other people are using. And they're paying good money for like quarter page or third page ads.
right.
So, I don't know. It might be time to just sort of try a different approach.
Or even a gift card for a referral, if say somebody in the village or the congregate refers somebody as a possible resident and they come, they get $100 Visa card or a $100 Stop and Shop card, something like that, to give them a little incentive to look around and see who's out there.
Yeah.
Kathy, thank you so much. That's exactly what we talked about. We're brainstorming, and that will be in the January newsletter.
Perfect.
And we're going to offer $100 gift cards for somebody that comes and rents.
Yeah.
They can give us lots of applicants, but we need somebody to actually
come and rent. Yes, if they recommend somebody who then becomes a resident,
exactly,
they get the gift card.
So those are little things that we're looking into, that really is going to cost us a lot and sort of a win-win for everybody.
Because in all honesty, if I were putting my parents somewhere, I wouldn't be doing it in the height of COVID to put them into a congregate living kind of situation. Separate apartment, separate unit in the village, different story. But I do think COVID has probably been your worst enemy as far as filling units in the congregate.
Well,
Can I
luckily,
ask a question about the meals in the congregate? Is the chef updated as to who's not there anymore, empty? He's not just making a
No.
set number of lunches. It's always based on who's in the congregate.
Absolutely. However, we have a contract. The contract is for 36. But yes, he knows exactly who
But you're paying for
Yeah.
36.
we are. However, you know, the other meals we are using in other ways. So,
And another question I have, because I know we're finding it difficult on the town side to get this done. I believe the state requires by February 9th that employees have sexual harassment training. Do you
Done.
have a plan? It's done?
done.
So
We did that in
all of-
November.
Pardon me?
We did that, I think, before the end of November.
Perfect.
Yeah, everyone
So-
had it.
That's every single employee.
Every employee had it.
Guys?
Every full-time employee had it. Yep.
I think it's every single employee. You might want to check the CHRO website.
And I believe it's also volunteers, if you have people who come in and
Really?
volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Hey, it's fun.
I've been to them. I've been to them. As a volunteer, no less. Still have to do.
yeah. I was surprised to hear it was volunteers as well, but
yeah.
I was talking to Tom McCarthy the other day. And he's struggling to get it set up because it's Zoom and you've got to be on for the 2 hours and there's
Oh, yeah.
checks throughout the thing where you have to be on to do what he tells you to do. So you can't turn it on and walk away from it. So
It's everywhere. Yes, even a church, PD teachers, everything.
yes.
There, yeah.
Yep. Suzanne,
Mandatory.
did you have some, did you raise your hand? I didn't.
Oh, me?
Suzanne?
Oh.
I thought you put your hand up. No? Okay. All right. Okay, any other questions for Harriet on her report? So let's go on to the congregate update and energy enhancements
Well,
2000.
let me say something about the congregate since we're talking about it, and you can mute yourself, please. So Daisy and I, we get very excited when we're able to rent an apartment because we know that we're taking somebody either off the street or in a situation they can no longer afford and putting them in a place they really want to be. Many people want to be in the village for lots of reasons, but it is harder with a congregate, especially now, when they are doing bingo, but it was more vibrant and a lot of entertainment and things going on. Who would not want to be there? It's beautiful. If you want to drive by, everything is lit up. When you go inside the foyer, there's a Christmas tree, there's Santa's village. I mean, it really is very pretty in the halls. But, we are showing apartments. Daisy called me Friday night very excited because she thinks she might have 2 or 3 people that want to come in January. That's great. The problem is some people change their minds at the last minute. Some people, I've given tours, they're not ready yet. It's too expensive. The apartments are small, due to COVID. We're not, not now. So those are the type of feedback that we're getting. But, we will have a marketing plan and we're just going to push. I'm hoping after the first of the year, there are plenty of people that do need congregate services. We're pretty much, for Fairfield County, we're not very expensive for what we give them as compared to other congregate facilities. And even I think, Jason, one of your clients in Hamden, I mean, they're a lot more than we are. And I know they even have less people.
almost twice.
Yeah. So, we do everything we can. So that's it for the, Ken, you want to talk about the budget for the sources and uses.
Yeah, you sent kind of the global budget. Did I lose you?
No, you're here.
Oh, okay. You sent kind of a global budget of the sources and uses of what we have for this development. I think everybody should have that in front of everyone or somewhere. And the basic budget, this is something that was put together in the application for the small city CDBG program last year. Actually, it's been a year and a half now. This was approved by DOH. The funds are all, we have an assistance agreement. They're all closed. And now we're ready to, well, we would have liked to have started construction a long time ago, but COVID didn't help us any. So now we're kind of moving forward. The biggest piece of this, it's a little over, it's $1,072,000 for the block grant. We have some money that you typically need a match from in order to win these funds. You need a match from the Housing Authority. They put up money to do primarily the design and engineering activities. And then we have some money that we're getting for rebates from United Illuminating for some of the work that's being done. The total budget is $1,187,000, so it's almost $1.2 million. Of that, $926,000 of it is identified specifically for the construction activities. We have a current contract with our contractor for $814,000. And then we have obviously contingency that we don't want to spend it all too fast, too quickly. But at the end of the day, it doesn't do us a lot of good if we don't spend it eventually. So part of our job will be of managing that to hopefully control early spending, but have ideas of what we want to do later in the contract once we get the hard work done of potentially betterments that can fit into the general scope that was approved by the state for this funding. So that's kind of the balancing act, because the one thing we don't want to do is you don't want to give the money back because you want to try to use it the best you can for all the construction activities. So that's the general overview of what the budget is. I don't know, Harriet, if you then want to talk about kind of the schedule of where we are now, or is that later in your agenda?
We can talk about the schedule a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, we thought about, go ahead.
Yeah, so the schedule in essence keeps getting kicked down the road for many different reasons. First of all, the bidding process over the summer got delayed because of COVID and wanting to have contractors and subcontractors in the building to do walkthroughs. We then, in the middle of the summer, when things settled a little, we kind of did it. We only let a couple in at a time. We took temperatures. We had a whole process to maintain it. They went into a vacant unit. That's all they could see. They went in with one person, and it wasn't like a group like we normally would do. We then went through that bidding process. The bid numbers came in a lot higher than anticipated. That's no shot given the COVID world that we're living in now. We then negotiated for a while. We finally got to a point of where we have a valid construction contract and a number that we can get all of the bathrooms rehabbed to replace the tubs into a walk-in shower unit, as well as replace the boilers and the hot water tanks, because obviously that's one of your energy drains in the facility, as well as your maintenance drains, because it's a nightmare to maintain this old boiler system, which happens to not have very good valves in it to break down parts of the building. So if you have a heating issue in one unit, you pretty much got to shut down the whole building or drain the whole building, which is just driving costs up for maintenance for you. So within that, we had hoped to start doing things about 3 weeks ago, but then when COVID started to grow, we kind of dragged our feet. We're trying also to make sure that we have all materials on hand before we start, because materials have become a very big problem right now. More so now than it was 6 months ago, even, because things were in warehouses and now they're just not available. So we have, and then we have some things in already in that we've put in storage, which is the boilers and the hot water tanks, because those are both very long lead time things. So we already have those. We have the majority of the tubs, the surround systems for the showers. One thing is we have two different types of toilets in this facility. One is a bottom drain and one is a wall drain. The wall drains are delayed until potentially the end of January, mid to late January. Our plan a few weeks ago was we were going to start in mid-January doing some domestic hot and cold water valve changes so that we could change the valves before we start doing a lot of the work. It's just going to make it easier when we do the bathrooms. That will be now more towards the end of January that we'll start, because we want to make sure that once we do those valves, we have everybody mobilized. The plumbers are all there. They move right into the bathrooms and start doing the bathrooms. We hope to do at that time, once we get the valve changes done, one kind of mock-up bathroom from hopefully a vacant unit. We don't want to keep vacant units because you guys want to fill them. But if you have a vacant, that's the first one that'll get done, so that we can kind of see what either how easy it is or how difficult something is to go forward. The goal then is to be doing the bathroom conversions in February and March, through March. We have delayed the boiler and hot water tank replacements until basically spring, because draining the building and not having either hot water or heat in January and February just seems not a good idea for a congregate facility. So we're looking to start that most likely in late April, but we're kind of saying that at minimum will be in May. That'll take us 2 months, May and June, and we should be out of there at the end of June. Obviously with COVID, anything could change. We may determine at the end of January that we're not comfortable and we need to drag our feet for another month until these, until things get better. And it's, we literally do this on a day-to-day basis of what we're looking at with COVID and managing it. This is very different than we're doing a couple of these very similar jobs for things like the villages. It's easier to manage when it's an individual unit like that than it is in a congregate facility, because everybody's around in the hallways and in the community room and things like that. And so we just need to be ultra careful for this rehab activity. One of the things is the contract right now has an end date that's in the spring. We will need to do a no cost time extension to the contract eventually, just to give comfort that there won't be any financial ramifications to the contractor if they don't finish on time. So we will extend it out to June 30th at this point. We're just waiting for that proposal from the contractor to make sure that he can do everything we're suggesting. So that's the hope is the schedule, as much as we would have loved to be doing this a month and a half ago. It's just the nature of the beast of construction during these weird times. And hopefully we can get this all done in the spring. The risk, right now we have until the end of 2020 to spend this money. 2021, I'm sorry. So we have all of next year to do this work. I don't see that as an issue as long as COVID helps us, even if, everything we need to do, we should be able to do in 3 to 4 months without much issues if the weather is good and if we can get any units. If not, though, I know there's been many other developments that are they're the year before this, and DOH and HUD are giving extensions based on COVID issues. So, I'm not at all worried. There should be no reason we can't finish this by the end of summer. Hopefully we get it finished before summer, but that's kind of the goal at this point. Is anything else you can add, Harriet, or is that what you wanted to hear?
No, that's great. Any questions?
I do have one question about the walk-in showers, because there were some issues in the village with water spilling out of the showers, and we had to put those rubberized strips down to keep the water in, but still allow a wheelchair to roll over it. Are you putting in the same kind of shower?
It's similar, but I think it's going to have a little bit bigger threshold, so that it's not the water issue. That's the biggest problem with these types of conversions, especially when you're in a two-story building. So,
correct. Yeah.
So I believe that the spec is different than what you guys have. I don't know exactly what you have, but I know we have a little bit of a better role in this one.
Okay. I just don't want the same issue that happened in the village in there. Laurel, did you have a question?
Actually, thank you very much. This is kind of really a nice snapshot. I've never seen anything like this before. So, and before I ask my questions on this, thank you very much for including me in those meetings. It's really kind of interesting and very useful for me to kind of hear what's going on and know what the delays are and just kind of get a sense of what we're doing. So thanks for letting me join in. So Ken, if you would just answer a couple of questions for me to just clarify on this document. So if I'm reading this correctly, it cost us $11,720 to do the bid process. Is that correct?
Well, some of those lines are yes. Some of it is our kind of oversight of the grant for the town. So going through that bid process, we don't get, the one thing is we don't get paid to do the applications and things, and then we're in these deals for another year and a half to kind of finish them. HUD and DOH requires us to break them into, for various program costs of required by percentages. A lot of those soft costs are percentages that are forced into it based on the application, and that is a not to exceed numbers. So it depends a lot on billing and what occurs and what we can and can't pay for through the grant for various soft costs.
Okay, so who gets paid for the bidders conferences?
Primarily, that's mostly us at this point.
Okay.
Your consultants. A lot of this stuff is us or architects and engineers.
Okay, and are you the construction rep?
Yep.
Okay.
For the town, and you.
Right. So that's 51.6, right?
Yep.
And then we paid or will pay. I guess we haven't paid part of this, but we basically committed to, just so I can kind of get my head wrapped around this. We committed to $99,000 investment.
Correct.
In order to get this grant.
Correct.
Okay. Was this a competitive grant?
Yes, very competitive.
Okay. So, okay.
And if you don't, and just for the record, if you don't commit and you don't have a match, it's a much more difficult scenario.
Right. I think
CHFA
I discussed that. Yeah. Okay. So we still owe, and I'm guessing who was the who did the construction docs for the grant application? The architect or you guys?
The architect. No.
Architect.
Okay. And then the construction bid documents. And
that's the architect. That's the architect as well.
Okay. Now that's all upfront pre-grant. We can't get that back from the grant money, right?
Nope.
Okay.
It's not allowed.
I did listen when we talked, so.
That's okay.
Okay, and then the town rep draw design, who's that?
That's us. That's us doing all the draws, all the management of the financing, all of the bookkeeping, and all the reporting.
But is that general management administration 28.5?
Yep.
Okay, and write-up reporting is you too?
Yep. Well, not just me, but.
Okay. All right. I think I got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Okay, so we can move on to unfinished business. At the last meeting, we had the contract for, and I always call them by the wrong name. Millennium. I want to always call it Millennium. And there were some questions about it. There were some errors in it. There were some things that needed clarification and change. And I have the new contract, and it appears to me on the surface that it was changed and the changes were made. I know there was some concern over the process of how this was done as far as going out to bid or not going out to bid, but at this point, we have a contract before us that we're looking for approval. Hold on, I'm unstable according to my computer, unstable internet. So if I lose you, I apologize. I'm just trying to pull up the contract. Is there anyone who has any questions or comments on the revised contract?
Thank you, Harriet, for revising that. I'm honestly a little concerned that the attorney that we had check it hadn't picked up, at least on the City of Bridgeport mistake. That never gives me a warm and fuzzy when I'm paying somebody and
I hear you.
I miss something like that. So I'm kind of concerned about the process. And I think the next time we start looking at stuff like this, I would really like to have a kind of a more of a discussion about the same company or people finding the grant, writing the grant, getting paid to write the grant, and then benefiting from the grant. So I'm just concerned about that. And I'm guessing this has gone on with the other $1 million worth of funding, but that process kind of troubles me a little bit. That's my only comment.
Right, so I will need a motion to approve the amended contract for Millennium.
Motion to approve, Mary Beth.
And a second,
Second, Maureen.
Maureen second. Any more discussion on it? I understand Laurel's concern. I share those concerns, but I'm also concerned that if we push this off to try to start a different process, that we're going to be behind the 8 ball in continuing with the rehab and the renovations. So while I share Laurel's concerns, my intention is to vote to approve this contract. Is there anybody else who wishes to comment on the contract? So then I'll call for a vote on approving the revised construction management agreement for Millennium. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Laura will abstain. Okay. All right. So at some point, Harriet, you'll need me to sign this?
Yes, I can get that over to you, not a problem. Bruce?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I think Bruce is still here, or maybe not. Bruce?
I'm here.
Hi, okay, so Kathy will sign it and then you'll sign it, okay? Or
That's
either
fine.
or. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have a very bad dog in the background who's, he hates me, so he barks. Okay, so I will somehow get that contract signed and then get it back to Bruce and we'll be good. Anything
you.
else under unfinished business that anyone wants to revisit? Okay, then let's go on to new business. Harriet, I'll turn it over to you with the
Okay.
equipment.
So as I mentioned, we did have a meeting with maintenance staff and it was, okay, so what can we do better next time? And we were prepared. We have salt. We just got a new shipment of salt. Everything seemed to work. Again, you're doing this before there's snow. Everything was plugged in. Everything, was charged. We had, everything was gassed up. Everything was turning. So we currently have 2 John Deere tractors. One is 11 years old and the back tires are in need of replacement. A new one would also include a snowplow and a motor attachment, and we can get a trade-in on the old one and put the value toward the new one. We also need 2 salt spreaders to attach to these 2 tractors. This will expedite matters, since we do have 3 full-time maintenance workers. In the past, they were pretty much, they sort of feeding the chickens. They would go out and just spread it. But, we realized that we really need this because it will spread it better and it'll be a lot more efficient. So the company that we always deal with, we've dealt with in the past, they provided me a quote. And the total package that they gave me is $16,162. That included a $3,500 trade-in for the old tractor. And it also included different types of John Deere discounts in the amount of about $2,300. So I asked for 2 other people to give me quotes. One person came in and it's actually about the same. His is a little higher now, it's 19,000. However, he didn't give me the trade-in value yet. But if we order it today or tomorrow, we won't get into the middle of February as it is. And again, it's a tractor, it's the new mower attachment, it's the new snowblower attachment, and it's the 2, spreader. So I don't see, it's really up to you, but we do need this. Again, 11 years of a tractor pretty much doesn't owe us anything because there's over 7,000 hours on it. It's not done in mileage. It's done in how many hours that the tractors use for trade-in value. So it's a lot.
Is there any financing available on it? Like at 0% interest, like a Subaru?
I could find out, but I can certainly find out if there is. Jason, do you have any thoughts? I'm sorry, Laura, do you mind if I ask Jason if he has any thoughts on that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, they typically do offer some of these deals. Honestly, I don't normally see people taking them up on it. I'm not necessarily saying that's a good financial decision. I think a lot of them in your position, if you have them, for not to go through the loops to just pay for it. But again, I don't know if that's a good excuse.
I'm a big believer in working off somebody else's money. And if they're anxious enough to sell something for $16,000 and we could get a 0% financing over 5 years or something, I don't see any reason to use our own money. It doesn't cost us a penny.
It's a fair point. Right.
Okay,
I'll
I'll certainly look into that.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it in practice. I would just say, why it's free money and everybody's, hungry for deals at this point.
And I'm sure we can also, if that's not an option, we can probably do it in installment payments. We don't have to pay the whole thing right away.
Well, Laurel's point is if they're going to give it for free with no
I get it. Yeah, I certainly understand that if that's an option.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't have the money. God knows we do. And I'm sure it'll be capitalized, so it won't end up screwing up the P&L at all. But my point is, why take it out of your account if it's not going to cost you anything? What the heck? Another question I have for you, Harriet, is I don't know how, that's a big property for 3 guys, and I assume they're using shovels.
They have 2 hand snow blowers too.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, and the only trouble when they shovel, they have to shovel the doors. So in other words, you're on a porch, you're snow blowing as much as you can, but sometimes, especially, we had so many drifts this past snow that some people had none, some people had several. So yeah, they had to shovel out.
Okay, but they're not out there like the majority of it. They're not needing to do the,
No, Kathy and I were talking. It was great then when we could get Trumbull High School kids to come and give them, I'd write them a letter for anything they wanted. Do you want your credit? How much, civic duty credit do you need? And it'd all come willingly, and their parents would be there too. But those days seem to be over. But yeah.
Are you meeting to get this thing before we meet again?
Yes, only because when I order it, it's going to be February delivery. So the next time we meet is January. So
can you find out about the 0 financing, and then would it be possible for us to do like a mini quickie special meeting just to see what you've got and approve it?
Sure.
Or Laurel, the other thing I was thinking of is to approve it and have Harriet look for the financing on it. If she's able to get it, she can go ahead and do it. Otherwise, so we just don't delay
Sure.
the purchase of it. It needs to be purchased. We have the money to purchase it. If Harry can work out a lease deal where we're not taking the money out of the account. So if someone makes a motion to approve the purchase with Harriet looking for the financing, then she can just go ahead and do what needs to happen.
Okay.
Because coming February, middle or end of February, if we wait till January or even a quick special meeting next week or something, it might be March before she gets it. And at that point, we might as well wait till November again,
Sure. Sounds great.
if people agree with that. So can I have a motion to approve the purchase of this equipment? And Harriet will look for financing on it, but she will go ahead and purchase based on what she finds.
So moved, Mary Beth.
Thank you, Mary
Second,
Beth.
Laurel.
A second. Laurel, second. Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, so Harriet, you're going to look for financing on it.
Yes.
If you don't find it, just keep me posted and
Of course,
we
yes.
we'll do that. Okay. Anything else under new business? Okay, so let's see. I don't know who had their hand up for comment, but it's still there. Can we let them on, Bill, or who can let them on? Bill's talking to somebody. Okay. Whoever's hand is up to speak.
Hello?
Sorry, Kath, are you looking for me?
I am. I want to know. I don't know how to let the person whose hand was raised speak.
Okay, I'll talking's permitted, and it looks like they're speaking now.
Okay. Go ahead, whoever's on the call.
Oh, hello. This
Hello?
is Michelle. This is Michelle Molnar.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. How's everybody tonight? I have I noticed you were talking earlier about the cleaning of the heat pumps, and it is a good idea to clean them once a year because the times that they came in to clean mine, I was here, and when they took everything apart to clean it out, you could see all the dirt and the grime and everything on the, on the inside and on everything that they were cleaning out. So they do need to be cleaned out once a year because they do get grimy and dusty and everything inside.
And they will be cleaned.
Oh, good. Okay. And another thing is the community room, they've opened that for us to do laundry Monday through Friday, which I've been using because I'm on oxygen. And let me tell you, that is like the best thing because to have to walk when it's cold and windy out back and forth, it's just way too much when you can't breathe.
Well, you can thank Harriet for getting that opened for you. And I'm glad you're using it.
Oh, let me tell you. But, and the other thing I had to say is I've missed September and October and November's meeting because every time I tried calling on that toll-free number and I put in the ID number, it would keep saying that the host, it can't host with the numbers that I'm giving. And I happened to go online on the town, and I seen a telephone number with a 312 area code. And when I used that telephone number, it let me on in the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. We
So
were
with
talking about that earlier, Michelle, and Bill Chin is our IT director, and he's
Right.
going to check and see what's going on with the phone numbers. But definitely, if you don't get on the number that's on the agenda, go on the town website, and maybe there is another number that you can get on with. I'm glad you were able to get on. Harriet?
Yeah, because, okay, and that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Michelle, don't go anywhere.
What?
So
Okay.
the reason I give the toll-free number, obviously, is so that residents don't have to pay, but I'll give all the numbers from now on. And Michelle, you still haven't taken me up in a cup of coffee every time you come into the community room.
Because I got so used to bringing my own coffee. When
I
come in.
told you I'd make you a cup of coffee.
Oh, so okay. Well, I'll be in there tomorrow morning. So I want to get the last of my laundry done. So I'll be in there tomorrow morning. So
All right.
Thank you very
Michelle,
much.
Thank you for coming on. I don't see
thank you.
anybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
You
Be
too.
well.
I don't see anybody else. Is there anything else we need, or I will happily accept a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Laurel.
Laurel, second.
Second.
I think that was Maureen, second. Okay, everybody, all in favor, we'll adjourn and have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful holiday season, and a happy new year. And let's hope that in January, we'll have a whole different outlook on what's going on and COVID and all the rest and vaccines and the whole bit. And cross my fingers that, you know, by spring, I still got 3 weddings to do. So I gotta get these in. May, September, November, gotta get them in. So,
The only good
all right,
thing.
everybody.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Coming on.
Happy holidays,
Bye.
everyone.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.